Chapter 8. Breaking Barriers, Annie Oakley and Gender Norms. Hook 1. A rifle, a skirt, and a revolution. Picture a late 19th century stage, fringed with velvet and crowded with eager faces. Out strides a petite woman in a handmade skirt, rifle in hand, her eyes set with quiet determination. With a single shot, she not only splits a playing card but shatters the boundaries of what women were expected to do. Annie Oakley's presence in that spotlight was more than a spectacle, it was a revolution in real time. Hook 2. More than marksman, a pioneer for women. In an era when corsets and conformity defined a woman's place, Annie Oakley redefined what it meant to be both feminine and formidable. She wasn't content to simply outperform her male peers, she wanted to bring other women along with her. Through every lesson she taught, every newspaper article she inspired, and every stage she graced, Oakley was opening doors that had long been closed. Hook 3. A lady never misses, redefining respectability. Critics once whispered that the shooting range was no place for a lady, but Annie Oakley answered with grace and precision. A lady never misses, she'd say with a wry smile. Her blend of gentility and grit proved that a woman could command both admiration and respect, not despite her femininity but because of it. Victorian constraints. The world Annie Oakley inherited. To understand the impact of Annie Oakley's life, it's crucial to appreciate the social landscape she navigated. The late 1800s and early 1900s were dominated by Victorian ideals. Women were expected to be pious, pure, submissive, and domestic. Their ambitions were to be contained within the home, their energies reserved for raising children and supporting husbands. Public spaces, especially those involving competition, skill, or risk, were the exclusive domain of men. The notion of a woman wielding a firearm, let alone doing so with the mastery and composure of a champion, was almost unthinkable. Female athletes and performers were rare, and those who did succeed were often marginalized or criticized for stepping outside accepted gender roles. Annie Oakley. A contradiction and a challenge, Annie Oakley rose to prominence not by rejecting femininity, but by expanding its definition. On stage, she wore custom-sewn skirts, embroidered jackets, and even bows in her hair. She addressed crowds with humility and warmth, always careful to present herself with the dignity expected of a proper lady. But the rifle in her hand told another story. Oakley was a competitor, a professional, and a woman unafraid to show the world her strength and independence. She bested men in shooting contests across America and Europe, and she did so with a smile. Candidly, I do not believe that English ladies will shoot well or shoot with comfort until they dress differently. It is impossible to shoot brilliantly in a tight-fitting bodice, absolutely impossible. Again, how can ladies expect to walk in comfort through fields of wet roots if they wear skirts down to the ground? What they ought to wear, that is, if they wish to shoot at ease, is a loose bodice of some soft material, tweed for choice, and a skirt about halfway up to the knee. Annie Oakley's advocacy for practical dress was itself a challenge to the restrictive fashion and thinking of her time. She understood that real freedom required both the opportunity and the means to seize it. Redefining respectability, athleticism, and femininity. Unlike some early feminists who felt compelled to reject traditional femininity, Oakley embraced it while also demonstrating exceptional athletic prowess. She became a role model not only for what she did, but for how she did it. In a world suspicious of women in public life, Oakley's approach was strategic. She never appeared threatening, never boasted, and always credited her success to practice and providence. This delicate balance allowed her to challenge prevailing notions about women's limitations while remaining respectable in the eyes of her audience. Her stage persona, graceful, modest, yet undeniably powerful, helped ease societal anxieties about changing gender roles. Teaching women to shoot. Empowerment in action. One of Annie Oakley's greatest contributions was her work offstage. Throughout her career, she taught thousands of women to shoot. She saw marksmanship not just as a skill, but as a path to self-confidence and autonomy. She argued that shooting gave women confidence and the power of self-protection, as well as grace and poise. In her view, a woman who could handle a firearm was a woman who could handle herself, whether in the wilderness, the city, or the home. Empowerment through education. Oakley's classes were open to all women, from socialites to working girls. She was patient with beginners and encouraging with the timid. Many of her students became excellent shots, and some even went on to compete professionally. Oakley's lessons provided a rare opportunity for women to test themselves, learn new skills, and break free from societal expectations. A legacy of self-reliance. She believed so strongly in the right of women to defend themselves that she once offered to raise and train a regiment of female sharpshooters for the U.S. Army during the Spanish-American War. Though her offer was declined, it made headlines and sparked conversation about women's roles in national defense. Challenging the double standard, Oakley faced plenty of criticism. Newspapers sometimes mocked her, suggesting that her success was a fluke or the result of masculine traits. Others accused her of undermining true womanhood. Yet, Oakley always responded with dignity, letting her skills speak for itself. Her career forced the public to grapple with the double standard that demanded women be both talented and invisible, strong yet unthreatening. Oakley's example proved that women could be both, and that society was stronger when everyone's talents were allowed to flourish. The ripple effect, impact on sports and society because of Annie Oakley. It became possible, if not yet common, for women to compete in shooting sports. Her influence extended to other athletic fields as well, inspiring early generations of female athletes to challenge the boundaries imposed by gender. Women who saw Oakley perform or learn from her took her example into tennis courts, swimming pools, and track fields. She helped plant the seeds for the broader women as sports movement that would blossom in the 20th century. Changing the conversation, Oakley's life and advocacy helped normalize the idea of women as competitors and professionals. She showed that skill, discipline, and sportsmanship were not the exclusive province of men. Her career invited the world to imagine new possibilities for women and for society itself. A legacy of courage and change. Annie Oakley's legacy is more than a collection of trophies or headlines. It's a story of courage in the face of convention, of using fame to lift others, and of changing the way the world sees both women and men. She stands as a bridge between eras: a Victorian woman with a rifle, a pioneer for modern womanhood. Her message resonates even now, that the path to equality is paved not only with protest, but with performance, perseverance, and pride. Conclusion: the sharpshooter who changed the world. Annie Oakley did not just break barriers, she transformed them into stepping stones. Every shot she fired, every lesson she taught, and every stereotype she shattered helped create a world in which women could dream and achieve beyond the limits of their time. Her story reminds us that true revolutionaries do not always storm barricades. Sometimes they walk onto a stage, take aim, and show the world what's possible.